Are you serious? Are you serious? Get some coffee and calm down. Seriously, you're going to need to, because it's getting crazy out there. And the prophecies of the last days are up on us, folks. They're totally, yes, you are. Are you serious? You're going to need to calm down. Get some coffee and just relax a minute. But Jesus is coming, but it's going to get crazy before he does. Welcome to the Coming Apocalypse. This is the YouTube version. I'm Pastor Paul Begley, and we've got some powerful information for you today. But first, let's put a shout out right now for www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. You may have noticed that now I've lost 33 pounds, and I'm continuing to stay focused. And part of the reason I'm able to do it is because of www.healthwithpaul.com. If you've started to notice an increase in the appearance of wrinkles, fine lines, bags under your eyes, or other unusual signs of aging, or usual signs of aging, it might be more than just stress from the new year. Your collagen levels could be low. So as you've gotten older, you may have also found that your nails are more brittle, your hair is more thinner, your skin isn't as strong, which can all be related to declining collagen production. I'm impressed because in just a week of taking the premium collagen powder, I've noticed a significant reduction in the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines. My skin is once again regaining its youthful glow, hydration, and elasticity. So I want you to try it as well and experience the amazing effects it had on me. Get a bag of this today. Save 51% if you go to that link in the description below, www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. Plus, receive several free bonuses before this New Year's sale ends, folks. You still got time to do it. Go there now. You'll be glad you did. All right. Now, there's some craziness going on in the world now. You guys know this Russia thing is getting more intense all the time, guys. More intense all the time. It's very concerning, to say the least. No wonder we're concerned about all these issues, whether it be CERN or the World Economic Forum or Agenda 2030 or the New World Order or the wars and rumors of wars and the earthquakes in different places. Well, we're concerned about all of it. And now we've got to be concerned about Russia and a potential war turning into Gog and Magog, or maybe even Armageddon. These things are happening right now, and it's got me very, very concerned. I'd like to go to this and share it with you real quick here. Here's what we're finding out. I'd like to show this article for you, maybe, and we can just read along together. Let me do that, okay? Let me do that. I want to do that. So I should be able to just hit that, right? Like that. Boom. There we go. This extremely dangerous decision takes the conflict to a new level. Furious Russia vows Western vehicles will burn as Germany confirms it will give tanks to Ukraine. They've confirmed it now, prompting Putin's TV puppets to call for a nuke strike on Berlin. Furious Russia vows Western vehicles will burn as Germany confirms it's going to give its tanks to Ukraine. This is very disturbing, guys, to be honest with you. Very disturbing. Russia today warned that Germany's decision to send dozens of modern tanks to Ukraine is extremely dangerous and will take the conflict to a new level, bringing an end to a bitter row. German's Chancellor Olaf Scholz finally confirmed today that Berlin will send its own German-made Leopard 2 tanks. Now remember, this is why you want to get the webinar, because I explained to you the importance of the leopard, the bear, and the lion, and the bald eagle's wings in prophecy. That these will all be in play, the Bible says, in the last days, that these kingdoms, the lion, the bear, and the leopard, along with the bald eagle's wings. Wow, they're in play for sure. Russia branded the move a blatant provocation and warned that the new NATO supplies will burn like all the rest, while one raging Putin propagandist called for the German parliament to be destroyed in a nuclear strike. Wow. So it's kind of crazy, but when every day the public in Russia hears these words, nuclear strike, nuclear detonation, thermonuclear war, the apocalypse, and they hear it every day. They hear this every day. And get this, and Russia's ambassador today said, this extremely dangerous decision takes the conflict to a new level of confrontation and contradicts statements by the German politicians about the unwillingness of the German Federation to get involved in it. But the United States will provide 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine in a deal worth $400 million, according to Bloomberg, while Berlin is sending 14 Leopard 2 tanks. And the Kremlin propagandists call for Budenstang to be nuked. What? Yes, and Russia's own storage facilities have around 10,200 tanks, while an estimated 3,300 have been deployed to Ukraine, but 1,640 of those tanks have been destroyed. So think about that a minute. Russia's already sent 3,300 tanks to the battle in Ukraine, and half of them have already been destroyed. And that's that's without these American Abrams tanks, which are superior to the Russian tanks, and the German Leopard 2, which are absolutely phenomenal, and also the tanks that have been promised to show up from the United Kingdom. So by the United States, Germany, and Great Britain getting involved in this war, maybe not by sending American soldiers, but maybe they are there, and I almost guarantee you they're there, but certainly those three nations putting their best weaponry in there. Russia is really no longer fighting Ukraine, they're fighting NATO. And that's what Putin's point is. And this is why he's threatening the world with nuclear annihilation. Now, the move as a punching fist for democracy, while Russia had warned it would cause a global catastrophe and escalate the war beyond Ukraine's borders. Russia has warned the supply of more tanks would leave a lasting mark and lead to nothing good, with fears in Moscow that the high-tech equipment could land a devastating blow on the Russian invading forces. Now, pressure has been building for weeks on German Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government to send the tanks and allow NATO allies to do the same. The German leader was wary of moves that could prompt Russia to escalate, but he's finally relented today. He said in a statement, "We must always make it clear in everything we do that we are doing what is necessary and possible to support Ukraine, but that at the same time we're preventing the war from escalating into a war between Russia and NATO." Now, the goal was to quickly establish 2 battalions with Leopard 2 tanks from Germany for Ukraine, and adding that Germany would, in the first step, provide 14 tanks from their military stock. That's the first initial amount of tanks they will send. And also, Germany says they will train Ukrainian troops on how to use these armored vehicles. They'll start training them in Germany very soon, and the nation will also provide logistics and ammunition. Germany will issue the appropriate transfer permits to partner countries that want to quickly deliver the German-made tanks from their stocks to the Ukraine. This is incredible information, guys. Incredible. Give me one moment here. Just 1 second. Hello, Sugar. You coming to join me? Good. Sugar's joining me right now, so we have to let her in. There's no doubt about that. So this is getting very, very intense, to say the least, okay? It's getting very intense. As a matter of fact, propagandists, in response to this, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said, I am certain that many experts understand the absurdity of this ideal. The plan is disastrous in terms of technology, but above all, it overestimates the potential it will add to the Ukrainian army. These tanks will burn just like all the others. Now, Putin propagandist Stanislavski, president of the Moscow Institute of the Middle East, told the Waldom Line channel that nuclear-tipped missiles should be used on the center of German democracy. He said that German tanks with crosses on their armor will again march across Ukraine, attacking Russian soldiers. I have a neutral reaction to this. The Soviet Union bombed Berlin back in 1941. And to me, this is a signal that the Reichstag and Bundestag, which now replaces the Reichstag, simply should not remain standing any longer. Flat, silently, radioactive, melting down the ground. Meanwhile, Putin's favorite propagandist, Vladimir Solofo, also ranted about the move, which he plainly sees as a significant blow to the Russian president, while also being proof in Russian eyes that Germany has directly joined the war. So as this intensifies, Putin realizes that this thing has stepped up to another level. I think what we have to do now, guys, is keep our eyes open on what's happening here. This is prophecy being played out right before our very eyes. Matter of fact, it's time, it's clear, to send a resolute message that we now consider Germany a direct party to the conflict, rekindling memories of World War II, said Dmitry Peskov. German tanks appearing will definitely mean we consider German territory, military bases, and other sites as legitimate targets. So now they're threatening to attack Germany. NATO wants to fight in this cunning way, pretending that it's not fighting. In your dreams. In your dreams. And Pistorius will go down in history as an imbecile who led Germany to become a zone of direct destruction. And Schultz, your chancellor, and Foreign Minister Baerbock, the German people will know which new Nazi leaders they have raised and brought to power. That's my subjective opinion. Another leading Putin propagandist, Margarita Simeon, said that Germany will send gas chambers to Ukraine after authorizing the tanks, alluding to Nazi gas chambers during Second World War. And Simone also wrote in a telegram, Germany, after being flogged by Washington, will send 14 tanks to Ukraine. Closer to summer, deliveries of gas chambers are also expected, he said. One official said the tanks will be brought under an upcoming Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package, which provides longer-range funding for weapons and equipment to be purchased from commercial vendors. By law, Germany needs to agree for the tanks to be given to Ukraine, which is not a member of NATO. And a few hundred tanks for our tank crews, this is what is going to become a real punching fist of democracy, said one of the leaders of the Ukrainians. So, guys, what we're saying here is, this thing, they're talking, do you hear the war rattling, the saber rattling? The wounds of World War II. In other words, this war, the war that was fought in World War II is being, the same spirit of that war is being rekindled. The same demons of that war the flames are being stoked again. And President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine's administration wrote this in a telegram, saying Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and that's the new, Richie Rich, I call him, the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Rishi Sunak, he has hailed the move today, saying, together we are accelerating our efforts to ensure Ukraine wins this war and secures a lasting peace. And Poland's prime minister thanked German Chancellor Olaf Scholz today for his decision to send the Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. Thank you, he said. He wrote, the decision to send those Leopards to Ukraine is a big step towards stopping Russia. In response, Putin has begun creeping new stealth mobilization, even while denying it is underway. And the Kremlin rejected a report emanating from the United States officials that a new, quieter wave of 200,000 recruits is planned. Yet there is clear evidence, folks, of a dramatic new grab of conscripts for fighting and to work in plants to build tanks, missiles, and other hardware for the war effort. The drive was in progress before the expected tank deal, but Moscow could well use the ramp-up as justification for this mobilization. A Western source said it's underway without any big announcements. It will increase. One tactic is likely to be to press teenage conscripts, who by law should not be sent to war, only for military training, to rapidly sign up for the conflict with offers to increase salaries. So now they're recruiting teenagers in Russia with sign-on bonuses and larger salaries. Separately, new rules will prevent men of military age driving abroad to countries such as Georgia and Kazakhstan to avoid the draft. So in other words, they're not going to let these guys leave the country and not go to war. So Putin has enacted a draft, and now he's going to lower the age of fighting age. But he's going to offer them more money and salaries. Now, drivers will have to book slots to exit the country, making it easier for authorities to veto their move abroad. Thousands of men remain outside Russia for fear of being thrust onto the war. And so, guys, this is very, very concerning. It's getting uglier by the minute. Putin's front lines, where he has suffered catastrophic losses, these guys don't want to go there. Meanwhile, migrants from Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan who have received Russian passports have been suddenly prevented from leaving Russia. So they let these guys in the country, and now Russia did, and now Russia says, oh, whoa, you're not leaving. You know why? Because they're going to be put to fight. And they're not even from Russia, but that's what's going to happen. Those trying to do so have been told they are included on the mobilization list. So in other words, they lured them into Russia, and now they're going to make them fight as soldiers. This is crazy, really. Those trying to do so will have to learn to fight. In Omsk region, a massive new training center is being built, apparently for thousands of draftees required to be retrained for defense factories. Instead of 2 years of training, recruits are going to be given crash courses of up to 6 months to fill labor shortages in plants essential for Putin's war effort, according to Russian news. Men taking new jobs in some regions, for example, are being ordered to show military registrations, documents they must hold by law, so employers can funnel them to the forces if ordered to do so. In other words, even if you are working in a factory, you cannot work there if you don't have your draft papers that you have signed up for the draft. So, what I'm saying is, guys, Russia is preparing themselves for the long haul. They're not going to go away. If you think Russia, I think NATO, I think Joe Biden. I really think Joe Biden and the NATO, Jens Stoltenberg and some of these other guys, and Emmanuel Macron and some of these other guys, Olaf Scholz, I think they thought that they could bully Putin into backing down. Okay? But they're not going to bully him from backing down. And matter of fact, they're just really stoking the flames of war. I mean, think about it. Why are we doing this? I'm going to ask the West this question. Why are you doing this? Yes, I understand Putin invaded Ukraine. I understand it. Putin believes that Ukraine belongs to Russia. Putin believes he's Peter the Great. I understand that. Putin, believes that Russia belongs to him, and he's now taking it back. But why are we, the West, I should say, why are we stoking, provoking, poking the bear? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Because you might say, well, it's because what he's doing to Ukraine is not right. Okay. There's people, there's nations doing stuff to people all over the world. Why aren't we involved in those? Why don't we get involved? There's craziness going on everywhere, folks. There's human rights violations going on in China right now beyond your imagination. There's murderous atrocities on the human race in China and in North Korea and in other parts of the world that is totally ignored by the United States. And that's fine, because if we don't want to get involved in it, it's not fine. But if you don't want to get involved in it, that's a decision we can make. But this is really strange to me. Why is this one conflict become bigger than life and spilling over? It's spilling over to the point that you can actually see World War III, that we're on the brink of it. And I don't know about you, but World War III is not a good option. World War III is not the best play here. But we've been poking this bear for quite some time. Let's go back to before Trump was elected president. It was Russia, Russia, Russia. Poke the bear, poke Trump, poke the bear. I think Donald Trump was actually trying to figure out a way to create a peaceable relationship with Russia going forward, and a peaceable world even for NATO and for the European nations. But the Biden war machine, they really didn't want that. Neither did the Dick Cheney machine. And well, let's just call it the military-industrial complex. And as much as we are justifying these moves by the fact that Russia made the invasion into Ukraine, we seem to be going over the top more and more and more. Now, our rationale, I guess, is to say we have to do this because Russia won't stop with just one nation. They'll take Ukraine, and then they'll look at Poland, they'll look at Romania, they'll just keep on coming. We have to draw a line somewhere. And so Ukraine is become the line. That's the school of thought you hear from the NATO leaders. But this rhetoric, this war rhetoric, guys, you know this isn't healthy. This isn't healthy for anybody, for both sides now, to talk about annihilation and gas chambers and thermonuclear annihilation. It's not good. But then again, as a preacher, as a prophecy teacher, as a biblical researcher, as a pastor, this is exactly what Jesus said was going to happen. This is exactly what Ezekiel prophesied 3,000 years ago. So I shouldn't be shocked, I guess. I really shouldn't be. This is exactly what the Bible said is coming when we read Ezekiel 38. And you know that it's going to spill over. Not only is it going to spill over throughout Europe, it's going to spill over into the Middle East. It's going to spill over into North America. Do you really think we're immune? I think Americans think that they're immune. That somehow America's immune. Look, I got reports sent to me earlier yesterday and again this morning of Russian tanks with nuclear missiles, nuclear warheads, Russian submarines. I said tanks, submarines, creeping close to the U.S. shores. We've known about it even a couple years ago down there near the Gulf of Mexico, near Florida's coast. We've heard about it by the Alaskan coast. Now we hear about it along the American eastern seaboard and along the western seaboard. The Russians are letting us know that they have the capability to take and do massive damage, even to hit Yellowstone. That's even been one of the conversations. You're right. There's a lot of rhetoric and a lot of propaganda that goes on from both sides. But I really do wonder, why do we... Let's see this. Mike around the world, I remember having this conversation with him. And he said, Paul, you just need to understand something. Ukraine is the battlefield. It's actually the staging ground for the war. The battlefield has changed. The battlefield's no longer Ukraine. Ukraine's the staging ground. We're going to be putting these tanks in there and anti-aircraft defense systems and many other high sophisticated equipment, not to help Ukraine, but to prepare to fight Russia. And Ukraine is just the staging ground now for the theater. The war has already been expanded. When you see UK, when you see the United Kingdom, Germany, the United States, and other nations, France and others, preparing, building up arms, sending in tanks, sending in ships, sending in weapons. It's you know something big's going to happen. They don't do that. You don't move billions of dollars of equipment into an area not to use it. And think how many people will die during this. I'm going to make I don't want to make this prediction, but here's what I fear. We may lose more people. More people may die from war in Europe than from the pandemic and protocols that we just went through. But then again, Agenda 21, which is part of Agenda 2030, is depopulation. There's a couple of ways you can depopulate the earth. One, you can have a pandemic. Two, you can have nuclear annihilation. Three, you can have, starvation, famine. Collectively, you can start watching the population fall. Have you noticed the American life expectancy has fallen from 76 to 74 in the last 4 years? Do you know what that means? You say, well, Paul, it's just two years difference than what it was. No. You have to. That means you add up the total amount of people who are here and how many and the ages they're dying, and now the total is fallen 2 years. That means massive amounts of people have died in the last 4 years. To bring the total average down by 2, we're supposed to be the most medically superior nation in the world. How is it that our life expectancy is going down? It's because it is all part of an overall agenda. The fourth horse, you could say, exactly. The pale horse is riding. I think they're all riding. Listen, the New World Order. We just look, this is why you want to get your ticket for the webinar. Okay, listen. We talk about Davos. These guys literally go into deep discussion about the World Economic Forum. Doug Hagman literally peels back the onions of what's really going on. Not just the rhetoric, but what really they're doing at the World Economic Forum. Larry Ragland plays video of their speeches that's just shocking that's going on. So the white horse of the Antichrist, the beast kingdom, is galloping. So is the red horse of war. It's galloping. So is the black horse of the economy to create a new global economy, a new great reset. It's galloping. And so is the pale horse of disease and plagues and pandemics and plandemics. It's galloping. In other words, Revelation 6, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are already in process. Maybe not reaching their full potential yet, but they are galloping. They're riding. While America continues to put on virtual reality glasses and live in little small spaces and embracing this Green New Deal of socialism, and we'll all be happy and hold hands and sing Kumbaya because we're all going green. The truth is we're about ready to get gangrene. I want you to do something for me. I'm going to play the song. Go right now. Get your ticket for this webinar. We're just 2 days away. I think God ordered this webinar for such a time as this. For such a time as what's happening right now. We need to understand that the power brokers of the world are trying to create a global catastrophe, and one thing will feed another. War will bring economic ruin, will bring also poverty, will bring disease. It will also bring the Great Reset. I mean, boom, 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 boom. You can see it coming. You can see it coming. Yeah, and they want you to eat bugs and fake meat and all that. Get your, okay, go get your, Terry, I'm so sorry, but that's good. Go get some groceries. You should. But to throw off and to say that, you know, trying to get people not to get the ticket, you know, that's just, it's just not cool. When we're trying our best to get people, to open people's eyes. You go ahead, you feed your face. I'll try to keep feeding the people the truth of the last days. Jesus said, man can't live on bread alone, Terry, but by every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God. Now, I'm a watchman on the wall. I can see the sword coming. If I don't warn the people, if I fail to warn the people, then God will require your blood, Terry, on my hands. So I beg you, take it seriously what I'm saying. Take what I'm telling you to heart. That we've come to a point of no return. Jesus is coming soon. And as this war spills in the Middle East, and it will, first Europe, will you be ready? Saturday was silent. And surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of our dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that He wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. Happening, folks. It's all real. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. There's a lot going on. We're going to stay on top of it. Certainly, you can see the signs of the end times everywhere now. And I think people need to be prepared. Don't be shocked. Now, tomorrow's a big day. Again, tonight even. Tonight I'll be over at Freedom Fellowship with Pastor Melvin Whittington at 7 p.m. Also, later today, I'll be back with some more breaking information. I have to go right now. I got to go speak at a luncheon. I got to speak at a luncheon with some folks, and then come back here. I'll come back. I'll do some more videos. I'll get you up to speed. There's stuff happening so fast. There's more stuff I want to talk about. Tomorrow, of course, Mike Around the World will be with us tomorrow night. He will have big time information to tell you about the waves of energy. And other things that are happening, just on the brink, just on the eve of the webinar. So get your tickets. I'll be back, and be prepared and be ready. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Get ready, because we're in the very last days.